a new show on WAPN. It's official now. Introduce yourself and tell us who you're with.
Chief Byron Williams with the Holly Hill Police Department.
And what are we going to be doing every month or maybe every week? Who knows what we're going to do, but at least once a month. What are we going to be doing in here?
Well, we figured we wanted to try to engage the community a little bit more. So we came up with this idea of, ask the chief something, anything you want to ask. And we want to try to do this on a monthly basis starting out. Mm-hmm. Like you said, though, we may change this to a weekly thing.
And I'd love to get the police officers in here, and get their opinion. And then when we have like the thing where we can learn self-defense, get them in here, just kind of engage what's going on. Because I know we have a neighborhood thing in the area that's once a month, right? And
once a month.
I've only been a couple of times. I know that sounds terrible, but I'm tired by that time of day. I start my day at 4 a.m. But are you in charge of that, aren't you?
Yes.
Okay, do you want to talk about that a little bit? Because I know we missed 1 month recently.
Yes, absolutely. We've missed several months, and we ended up missing this last month here. We normally have our neighborhood watch meetings on the first Thursday of every month at the Seeker Hall, which is right behind the City Hall there in Holly Hill. And what we end up doing, obviously we've missed the last couple months. A lot of times we missed the summer because
everybody's crazy.
Residents are either on vacation out of the state and they can't make it, so we normally postpone those. But we will be starting back up next month, September, first Thursday of every month. And we have different speakers in there to speak on different subjects and topics, hot topics of the month in the city, in the state. And I also give my crime reports as far as what we've done over the past month as well as the police department.
And I like that you're interacting more on social media also and giving us that update and stuff. And I've never made the list yet, people. Knock on wood. Today is a special day because today is back to school. And I had a couple people call me. What are the rules of back to school as far as driving? Because there's police officers all over. And we'd like to know, what are we doing something wrong, or is that for the safety of the kids, or is that to give us tickets? Why are they all over the place right now?
It's ultimately for the safety of everyone. It is a lot of traffic starting to move around, a lot of parents taking off work to take their kids to school for the first day, a lot of kids that are walking around. So it's a lot of movement going on. So we want everybody to be safe, especially the kids. So normally in different cities, there's a lot of traffic enforcement. We just want everybody to be aware of their surroundings where they're driving, to slow down, because it is a lot of traffic out on the road during this time.
And you're cruising along 25, and all of a sudden you see a school sign, but sometimes they don't blink. Some of them are just like there. Is that where the school zone actually starts, that we can get our ticket?
Yes.
Or at the sign? Or that's very confusing to me.
Typically there's a stop bar, but typically where that sign is posted is normally where you're going to start your school zone at. Okay. Sometimes they do flash to give you a warning, but some signs do not have the flashing on them, but they do have the times that the school zone is being enforced. And it's typically at the beginning of school and at the end of school day. It's typically when those times are enforced.
You stay 15 miles an hour all the way until the sign at the other side, right?
Until you exit out of the school zone, correct.
It's amazing how many people pass that sign and then all of a sudden think, well, what, did the sign was it?
Yes.
It just cracks me up with that.
And we try to educate a lot of our residents building up to that first day of school, driving safe, being safe, school zones getting ready to go back into effect. Make sure you be aware, make sure you're watching and you're surrounding, being patient. So we can prepare them for this particular day, because we do be out in force to make sure we enforce the traffic rules and laws of the state and the county.
Well, over the last several years, or a few years at least, there's been some accidents at school zones.
Yes.
And what do you think? Is it the children's fault, or is it the driver's fault? I mean, I understand it's by situation, but what I'm saying is, who's mostly not paying attention, I guess is the question.
It's still depends on the case itself, but you can have the kids that are not paying attention, not utilizing the crosswalk where they're supposed to walk at. You can have the driver that's not totally watching everybody in the surrounding and see the kids step off the sidewalk and they can't stop in time. So it's a lot of different factors that come into play, but most of the time it's one or both of the parties not paying attention.
Because, I mean, it happens so quick and easy.
It can.
When my kids used to go to school back in the day, I used to park somewhere and walk them up because getting in those school lines are crazy. Yep. Even when I pick up my granddaughters, those lines are like a mile and a half long. And so, they're getting, some of those parents get there like an hour early.
Yes.
And it's their zone. I mean, they take ownership of it. And I think that it causes that stress also.
Yeah. And we try to prepare. We have our officers standing by during that time frame. Just because of how chaotic it gets. A lot of the parents are there first time. Everybody's dropping off the kids for the first time. So they want to be able to say that last goodbye or see them walk into that school and get that last photograph of them walking in. So we was there this morning at Holly Hill School, and
I bet it was crazy.
It was crazy. They had a long line, but the system that they have set up is very organized, so we're able to get the parents and vehicles in and out very safely and get the kids out of the car. So it works out very well.
I still like to walk up just because, like I said, I don't want to get in that line with the attitudes. I might have been one or twice because like you just said, they're wanting to take that picture, or they feel like they've pulled up and their child hasn't come out after school yet, and they should just sit there, which I get because they've waited, but then that's blocking everybody else.
Everybody holds the line up, and you have the backup on 15th Street and things of that nature. So we have our officers out there in the morning time and the afternoon just to make sure we can keep traffic moving very fluently and effectively.
So how many schools do we have in our area, in Holly Hill?
As far as Volusia County schools, we have one school, and that's the Holly Hill School. It used to be Holly Hill Middle, but now it's just a K through 5 school.
Okay, it's back to that.
Only. Yes, it's back to elementary school now.
I did not even know it changed back.
Yes, it did. I think last year was the first year, I believe, they changed back.
So then where'd all the middle schoolers go?
They did build a new middle school, so they start displacing the kids to the other different middle schools.
It's a lot of confusion today.
Yeah.
How long do you think it usually takes for everybody to get in the,
Well, I would say I can speak for Holly Hill School. The gates open at 7:15, even though we had parents to line out there before 7 o'clock. But once the gates open and we start flowing everybody, it normally takes about 20 minutes, and we normally are done with
That's
everybody.
great.
Yeah, we get them in and out very quickly.
Now, what about private schools and churches that have schools? Do they have the same laws as public schools as far as, school zones and all? Because they don't really have like a school zone.
Yeah, they don't really have the school zones there.
Right. So how does, would we get a ticket if we're cruising on? And
typically, if it's a private school, it will normally be a school zone there. But like the daycares are not really considered schools. So we wouldn't have a school zone in those particular areas.
Which is kind of hard because, some kids are coming from like pre-K and stuff and walking to the daycares and different things.
But we normally wouldn't have them walking by themselves because it's
That's
daycare.
True. They're little.
Very little, yeah.
Yeah, they're little.
So that's why I guess there's not a large focus on those, because parents, it's not a large group of people, just normally maybe 20 parents or 20 cars, 20 kids come into that daycare. So it's not really a major traffic concern for us.
What about school buses? Because there's a lot of pickups, or what do you ever call them? School zones, or I don't know what you call them, where you pick up your kid. This bus pulls up and grabs your kids.
Yeah,
so
bus stops.
Thank you. Couldn't think of the word. Big word there. But how does that work as far as the driver? Are there rules around school bus stops?
Yes, there are rules around the bus, not necessarily the bus stops, but the buses themselves. When the bus actually stops, that means you're supposed to stop as well. If you're traveling in the same direction, you're supposed to stop along with the bus. Passing that bus is a moving violation, and I believe it's up to over $200 fine that you will get.
It should be.
For running that stop when the buses are loading the kids or unloading the kids. Now, depending on what street you're on, what roadway you're on, the opposite moving traffic, if it's a single, if there is no median within that roadway separating it, the north or the
okay, so let's say Williamson, because Williamson's very busy.
Williamson, yeah. Okay. We're using Williamson Boulevard. There's a huge median in the middle of Williamson Boulevard. So if a bus is stopped, the opposite moving traffic does not have to stop because of that median barrier separating.
And a median to you, is that with grass?
The grassy area or a cement portion there.
Okay, but if there's no cement portion or grass, but it's a 4-lane road,
yes,
what happens?
You must stop.
Okay, see, I think that's confusing, don't you, to people?
Well, it's in the driver's handbook.
Yes, but I think my child is the only one that knows the driver's handbook no, really. She got in a fender bender one time. I'm telling on her, but she knows the truth, and she was there. And the Holly Hill police officer, everybody was arguing about, who was the wrong, okay? And he was so smart. I'll never forget this day. He goes, okay, I'm going to ask everybody a question, and we're going to go around to see, okay? So he went around. And my daughter knew the exact answer from the book. And he goes, she's right. And everybody else is ticketed. Yeah. But because, it's funny how we all get to a stop sign, isn't it? And we all look at each other like, okay. And then there's some people that just plow through it. Yeah, And so I'm the funny person. If it's a red light, a stop sign, or whatever, I always look both ways again because... Yeah. Red lights, even nowadays, people just push those red lights. Right through them. And what is a ticket for running a red light like that? What do you consider running a red light?
After the light has turned red and you've passed the stop bar.
Okay, so the stop bar is way back here. So, like, if you're a truck and a trailer, okay, and you're coming and it's yellow and you think you can still make it, but once you pass that, if it hits red, you're ticketed?
You're ticketed, yes.
Even though you probably can't stop safely?
That's what the yellow light is for.
Okay.
The yellow light means to slow down because you're about to come to a stop.
You're right. It just seems like that. You're right. I know you're right. And he knows you're right. It just seems like that goes so quick. And sometimes I feel like I see these big semis and trucks and trailers, and they just have to keep moving because
I see a lot of violation with those big semis and the 18-wheelers. One particular one is they can't, let's say the school buses. Mm-hmm. I see violations with them as well where they're not supposed to make a right-hand turn.
Right.
Unless it's green.
Like at the end of Seabreeze, when you're going to go onto the beach road, It says cannot turn on red.
Correct.
And people turn there.
People turn, yeah. And that goes for all the buses, though. Every intersection, you cannot make a right-hand turn.
A bus cannot.
Unless it's green.
I never knew that.
And same with these semis. Same thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I love this. I love that I learned new information because I never knew that. Now, is it illegal, talking about semis, right here in our little city of Holly Hill at Flomish, those poor guys can't make that corner to turn onto Flomish off of US 1, the semis. I mean, I back up, safely, of course. I look behind me, and if there's nobody behind me, I back up. Is that illegal to do that?
To back up?
To let them make that corner? You know what I'm saying? When you're there and you see a semi trying to turn
in.
And if nobody's behind me, I'll be courteous and back up so he can turn.
Normally you're doing it safely. No, that's fine. That's totally fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I always wondered that. I thought, could I get a ticket for doing that? Because, I've already been safely stopped and then I'm going backwards. And I thought, But
no, as long as you're doing that safely, you're giving them room to get in there. Obviously, yes, that's fine. You're fine to do that.
Because they got a green light and they can turn.
Yeah.
But if they had a red light, they can't.
They can't turn.
How?
You don't
and that is in the
lights.
book?
You don't turn on red lights.
Well, but I can turn on a red light.
But you're saying if they have to make that right-hand turn.
Right.
Yeah, the cars are different than the big buses and the semis.
I wonder why that is. Is it because it takes so long?
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, so like even the boat trans coming down the road, is there a safety if you're behind the boat trans?
I would say that when I went to get my CDLs for my bus, to drive a bus,
Is that what you do in your spare time? Did we just find out something interesting about you?
I used to drive the church bus. So.
Okay, yeah. And that's important to have your license for the church bus.
Class C bus. They've changed it since then. But anyways, when I went to get my test, the one in front of me, the person that was driving in front of me, who I came with, they actually got dinged for making that turn on the red light. Wow,
that is so interesting. Now, what about us that are cruising behind the Votran buses here in Holly Hill? Because my husband tells me what I should do, but let me hear what you say I should do. Because there's a lot of them and a lot of stops on US 1.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know. I feel like there's over many stops, but I don't know what the right amount of
That's just part of the roadway traffic. Now, if you're behind the bus, then you're behind the bus. But if you can safely transition to the other lane and move past the bus, then you're fine.
What if they're stopped, though?
The Votran bus is different from a school bus.
Okay, see, that's why I wanted you to
Yeah.
explain. I thought that. So
Yes, they're
why is
different.
that different?
Because they're taking the extra precaution with kids. Sometimes kids have to cross over to the other side of the street to go home. Versus Votran, they have the bus stops on both sides of the road. So if they need to go on the other side, they can just turn and go down the other side of the bus stop and get over there and drop people off. But typically, when they're on this with the school buses, the kids have to cross over.
So we have to stay behind them. But a Votran, if we're in that left lane and they're pulled over on the right, you know,
can
loading or
continue.
unloading, we can continue.
You can continue.
So if a person was to walk in front of the Votran,
They, for one, would be jaywalking because that's not a crosswalk where they should be utilizing.
look at you, all this information. But it wouldn't be our fault then if they got hit either.
No. Now depends on if you're following all the laws and driving the right speed, then you would be fine.
Because, you know, I have seen people get off the Votran and I kind of like watch the bodies over
Yeah,
there, you know,
you do.
and, you know, see, because some people just go right in front of it. It's like, what the heck?
Yeah, and they shouldn't be. They should be utilizing the designated crosswalks for that.
Okay, see, that is very interesting to me.
And you're still supposed to drive safe and defensive at all times. Even if you're driving the right way, you still need to use your defensive driving mechanisms as well. Like when you're passing a bus. It may not be, they don't supposed to cross in front of the bus and cross, but you can always be thinking that what if someone's walking in front of me, so I need to drive carefully as I'm passing this bus as it stopped on the road.
I do, because I
Yeah.
get really nervous about that, because
Yeah.
I just think, ooh, what could happen? Now, when I'm driving and I see that little sign out there that's going to beep at me and turn red and blue and all those funny things that say I'm not going the right speed limit, how come when I can look at my car and I think I'm going 25, but that sign says I'm going 27, I will get a ticket, right? Do you follow what I'm saying?
The sign is there for educational purposes.
Okay.
So we do not use the sign to actually enforce and write tickets.
So there's not like a police officer?
There's no police
Okay.
officer standing by to write your ticket once this thing starts blinking. That's more just an educational sign for drivers to slow down when they see it blinking. Okay, that means you're going a little too fast. You need to slow down a little bit. When we actually pulling you over writing ticket, we are using calibrated devices that we have to check every morning before we go into service to make sure that they are calibrated at the right speed. And this is something that we're going to have to take to court with us and show the judge that we calibrated this device every day we came to work.
We're not going to get out of it.
To make sure that this device is calibrated at the right speed. So typically, yeah, you're not going to get out of that ticket.
Because, you know, that I always think about that, because a mile or two is very hard to do.
We typically won't write a ticket for a mile or two over. We have kind of set limit. It's up to the officer's discretion to write the citation, but they normally have a set number that they're going to start writing tickets at.
Okay.
Over the speed limit.
Now, there was a new law that went in effect July 1st, wasn't there?
Yes.
I know what the law is. I don't know verbatim, but tell us about that law, because that was crazy.
Basically, it's saying it's the Tyco reckless driving, and if you are driving in excess speed over 100 miles an hour, that is the officer do have the ability to take you to jail then for that citation.
I'm
for
glad.
Speed reckless.
I'm glad about that.
Yes.
And does it matter? This is weird, but does it matter what zone you're in that you hit the 100? Do you follow? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, if you're in Holly Hill, of course, we should never ever be 100. But on the freeway,
there's no speed limits over 100 miles an hour. So
right. So even on, it doesn't matter. You could go to jail in Holly Hill, or you can go to jail on the freeway. Is what I'm asking.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And we've already had some that have been taken to jail. From a Florida Highway Patrol down south, they've made several arrests in Orlando.
There was one right here on the loop.
Yeah.
In Ormond.
They've made several arrests already because of that law. We're trying to cut down on the senseless deaths that are happening on our highways in the state of Florida, and people are driving like this is like the Daytona 500 or something. And so we're trying to get a hold of that in some fashion, and this is just one extra law that has been put in place to give officers another tool on the tool belt too.
It seems like last week there was a lot of accidents. Maybe if they weren't, I thought they were in Holly Hill, but sometimes it's Daytona on that line.
Yeah.
Wasn't there several?
Yeah, we had several last week.
It was crazy week, wasn't
Nothing
it?
that was deadly, but we did have several. It depends on the weekend, depends on how many people deciding to come into neighboring Daytona Beach or just driving through Holly Hill at that time frame.
Because I just felt like
varies.
every time we turned around last week, there was an accident.
Yeah, it varies on the weekend, day to day, depending.
So what do you tell somebody when they get in an accident if they're in a parking lot? Do we call you?
Absolutely.
Okay, because people will say, well, it's a private property or whatever.
You don't have to call us, but I would encourage you to for your insurance and carriers.
Okay.
To get that accident documented for your insurance purposes.
So when we get in an accident, give us the hoedown. Do we move our vehicle? Do we jump out of the vehicle? What do we do?
If you're on a highway, especially like an intersection or...
I'm just talking US 1.
Yeah. If US 1, we want you to get the vehicles out of the roadway if you can.
Okay.
Because we want you to still be safe. We don't want anyone else to get injured. So if you can move the vehicles out of the road, that would be great. And once we get there, we're going to talk to both of you. You're going to just tell me exactly what happened, where were you positioned at. And typically an officer can look at the damage that is left in the road and determine how the crash actually occurred. Now, there are some times when we can't really tell how the crash occurred. We try to rely on independent witnesses or surveillance camera, video cameras that are in the area. But that's typically how we're going to approach that. We want you to get out of the roadway, but if you can't, at least just get out of the roadway, your physical body, leave the cars there. And
Okay, I thought about that too. If we could physically get out of our car, but our car's too crashed, get to the curb, call 911.
Yes.
Okay.
And once we get there, we can take charge of the scene and get all the vehicles moving safely and get those crashed vehicles out of the roadway.
And what do I need to have to give you when this happens? Because, I'm frantic, I'm freaking out, and I left my purse in the car. Do I go back and get it? I mean,
Nope. What we're going to do is, we've had that happen plenty of times before where the driver has left all the information in the car, and we just tell them to stay on the curb. We'll make sure we get the information. We ask them where it's located at, and we get it for them, bring it to them, because we don't want them to get injured as well. You have people that are driving that wants to be nosy, like to see what's going on, and they're not paying attention on the roadway, and then they end up what we call having secondary crashes.
Is it crazy or what? But I know what happens.
It happens. It's not uncommon for us to hear an officer call out, I have a crash here at X, Y, and Z, and then 5 or 10 minutes later, Central, I have another crash here where someone wasn't paying attention, looking at that crash, and they end up crashing as well. So
it's crazy. And then why do we all think we have to get by it? I mean, when it's, if it's not all in the one lane, which a lot of times is partially in the other lane, and why does everybody think they have to creep on by it without a police officer there?
They would like to just see what's going on.
Do you think it's all about the scene of what's going on?
Yeah, they want to see what's happening.
And then, of course, they have to whip their camera out and take a video of it.
Yes, absolutely. And we try to encourage people not to do that. We even have that on very tragic scenes. And we have people, it's a working crime scene, and we have people stopping, trying to take pictures of such a tragic moment, an intimate moment that the family is going to have to relive and see on social media. We try to encourage people not to do that.
I'm glad you mentioned that because it's very sad for the family.
Yes, it's a very sad time.
To all of a sudden be scrolling through and there's something, and then people say the stupidest things underneath that stuff.
Yes.
And it's very, very sad.
And people don't realize that, they don't know if we even have contacted the family yet. So for a family to find out that their loved one has passed from a social media post, and to see them laying out there like that is heartbreaking.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. So we try to.
So how does that work?
Control that scene very quickly.
That happens at a scene, you actually have to go to their homes?
Typically, yes, we try to, but a lot of times word gets out very quickly, and it gets back to the family, and a lot of times the family would end up coming to the scene, and we talk to them there at the scene.
So what do you suggest for a person like me who might be in the car alone a lot and stuff, and something happened where I couldn't communicate with you, how to get me a family member or how to get me help? I mean, is there a way for you to access our phones? Or do you understand my question as a police officer? What is our responsibility and yours?
You as a driver gets in a crash or something, but you can't communicate to the police officer.
Yes.
Typically, we'll try different investigative tools to try to get your information. Hopefully, you will have an address or your driver's license with you, which we will try to get from you. From there, if you can't communicate as far as family member to get a hold of, we will send somebody by your address on your driver's license. We also, when you sign up to get your driver's license, you also have to sign documentation with DMV as far as emergency contact. So we can try different methods to try to get a hold of your family member that way, to get them there to the scene to help you out.
I like that. Now, do you take people's phones and put it up to their face so that you could? Is there an app that people could put information? Like, I'm allergic to something that would be something at a scene they could possibly use. I'm allergic to betadine, which is to clean a wound, you know. So like if I get that put on me, then I go into anaphylactic shock. So that's something I don't want put on me if I'm gushing blood out of me. Yeah. So what would you suggest to people as a police officer is some things that we could do to help you?
Well, if you have a medical, you're talking about from a medical standpoint now, so
Because
the officers typically is not going to be
he comes after the fact, right?
he's going to come, he'd get there, but he's not going to be really trying to apply medical.
Right, but he would. I'm just wondering, would he be able to take our phones and help? Who takes our phone? Is that more the fire department?
No, we would have the phone, but hopefully, if you have allergies, certain medical allergies,
It's in
you
my
would have
phone.
some type of medical bracelet. But if it's not, if it's in your phone, we can try to get that information some kind of way. If not, that will be something more. So I don't know what all the medical protocols is when they have.
I just always wondered about that because I know that when everybody's there and everybody's trying to help the person, you know, it's got to be overwhelming.
when they have patients that are unconscious, they're trying to
Right.
Give them medicine, and I don't know what the protocol goes.
So when you come to a scene of an accident, if you're first, what is your responsibility at that scene?
Evaluate the scene, make the scene safe as possible. If we're talking about traffic, obviously we're going to try to stop traffic, the flow of traffic in that area, and redirect it to another location. We should already have medical personnel on their way as well from our dispatch, and also we will, request more officers or there to the scene to help us get this scene stabilized.
Now, I've seen in Holly Hill, we have some vehicles that say volunteer.
Yes.
Now, is that, excuse me the way I say that, is that a real person that we're supposed to abide by? Do you know what I'm saying? I mean,
They are not law enforcement officers. They are law enforcement support personnel.
Okay.
So what that means is when we have an accident like that, instead of using all our officers, tying up all our officers to block traffic and direct traffic, we have our volunteers that are trained to do that as well. So they come out with the car and they block the traffic and they direct the traffic for us.
and they are real, and we
do.
need to abide by what they're telling
Yes,
us
they
to
do not have any enforcement capabilities. They're just there as support to help us out, so we don't have to utilize all our officer resources on something that we can use a volunteer for.
Because they have seen them at accidents, and I've always
Yes.
wondered what their capability was or what their
Yes,
responsibility
they are
was.
very active in their support for law enforcement and the things that they do that a lot of people don't know that our volunteers are responsible for, but they are very active and very supportive.
One last question, then you can tell us about the golf thing. When we get pulled over, is there rules to getting pulled over as far as what we should do? Now, I'm a woman alone. Am I allowed to, what people say, flash you, or how do I let you know that I see you, but I'm not going to pull over on US 1, I'm going to pull into a gas station? Is that a real thing?
If you don't feel comfortable, we will ask you. We don't have a problem with you trying to pull over into a safe area that you feel comfortable at. We don't want you to go high speed, start speeding up,
Yeah, I won't be doing that.
because we're going to take that in a different way.
But how would I let you know that I'm trying to pull over?
You can put on your hazards lights.
Okay, and that would
would let me know
signal you that I see you,
Yeah,
but I
that
want to get to
something's wrong,
7-Eleven or whatever. Okay.
You taking your time, but you're going to pull over. You see you there, but
Okay.
just follow me as I go to somewhere safe to pull
Okay.
over.
All right.
Absolutely. If the officer is adamant that you pull over right there, though, I would recommend that you just pull over. Because, like you said, he doesn't know who's in the car.
Right.
He doesn't know what's going on, or she doesn't know what's going on. So if they just adamant, if they getting on the speaker saying pull over now, stop, I would recommend you just pull over then.
So am I allowed to call 911 at that point and make sure it's a real officer behind me?
If you're not feeling safe, yes, we don't have a problem with you calling 911 just to
Okay, I didn't know
confirm
if I was allowed to touch
yes.
my phone.
What we don't want, because we're trying to go home at the end of the night as well.
Yes,
so when it
you
comes
are.
to officer safety, we are looking at everything that's going on in your vehicle. And once we see you start doing a lot of moving around, that making us think that you're trying to hide something or get something. So it makes us a little nervous. So we try to actually be as still as possible, less movement as possible.
So you don't want me jumping out of my car when I pull over?
Please don't jump out your car when you pull over.
And that was what you did back in the day.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you got out of your car and kind of met the officer in the middle. Do you follow what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I know something happened recently. Somebody I know, the officer's like, get back in that car. So What is the right way when you pull us over?
Right way is to stay in your car, keep your hand visible if you can.
On your steering wheel then,
On
right?
your steering wheel or in your lap higher. We don't want a lot of furtive movements in the car.
Okay.
Until we get there, until we find out who's in the car and what's going on. Once we find out who you are and what's going on, our defense mechanism kind of come down a little bit. We get a little bit more, I would say, calmer and easy to talk to you a little bit better.
So do we roll down our window at least?
Yes, you can roll down the window.
And then put your hands on the steering wheel?
On the steering wheel, on your lap, just not a lot of movement if you can.
And what if we have a right to carry a gun? And, so we do have a license, or in the state of Florida, I know you can carry. How do we tell you about that?
Well, I've done it before myself when I've been off duty. Once the officer pulled me over, walked to my car, I immediately let him know, officer, I have a registered firearm in my vehicle. It's located XYZ in the vehicle. Just want to let you know. And they would greatly appreciate that.
And that's what I think is so wonderful.
Yeah.
If you give up information that's for real information, that you should give up any information, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That is very important information for that officer to know.
Yeah.
Because if you're a person that maybe have it in your glove box or in that middle console thing where your ID or your insurance card is also,
Absolutely.
and you don't give up that information and you whip that open and that officer sees a gun there, it's not going to go good for anybody.
No, it's a totally different response then at that point. And no one wants to be in that position with guns are drawn on you and this and that. You got to think, this is a human being that's walking up to your vehicle just trying to do their job.
There's somebody's son, grandson, husband,
daughter.
brother, uncle, whatever.
So they
aunt,
woke up this
mom.
morning planning on going home that night. So they're going to do everything they can to make sure they protect themselves also. So it behooves anyone that has anything like that. You're free to carry your firearms in the car, absolutely. Just when an officer walks up to you, just let them know that, hey, I'm a registered owner of a firearm. It's in my car and it's in this position.
See, this is why I love we're doing this, because
Yeah,
I really feel
absolutely.
that people in our community have these questions, but we don't know who to ask. And then if we ask, we feel like we're setting ourselves up that we did something wrong. And that is not true. I think information is so important, don't
It
you?
is.
And I love that our chief of police is going to come in here and do that, because like today we learned about schools, we've learned about getting pulled over and accidents, which are common things in our area.
Absolutely.
And I think it's very important. So before we go off the air, I know we have a golf tournament coming up, right? And we wanted to mention the school thing that you just did.
Yes. So the golf tournament is an annual tournament that we're hosting. It's the Mayor's Cup Challenge. And what we do with that is hosted by the Kiwanis Club, but it's also a fundraiser for the Holly Hill Police Foundation Board. And what we do is we have this great golf tournament. A lot of golfers teams come into play, and this money is given back to the community in one way or another. It's divided with the Kiwanis Club. It's divided with the police department. And what this money do for the foundation was established when I got here because I wanted to have a way to give officers more training. It's something that could not be outfitted in the budget to give them this training. Specialized training where they have to travel to other places, other cities, and they have to stay for a certain period of time. It costs a lot of money to do that, things that we don't have budgeted into our budget to do that with. So the foundation is set up to cover those expenses. Special equipment that we may need that is not in the budget for that year that came up mid-year. Something like that, we would have the foundation to cover these expenses.
It's a wonderful opportunity for us citizens and us people in the
Absolutely.
area to give back.
And 100% of it goes to helping the police department, the funds that we get from
And
that
when
part.
is that?
It's going to be on September the 13th of this year.
Okay.
Tee time starts off at 8 a.m.
Are they still in need of golfers and stuff? or-
Yes, I believe as of Friday, we had spaces for 7 more teams.
Okay.
But we're still taking sponsors as well.
Okay, great. And we call the police department, or how do we do that?
We would talk with John Penny. He is the contact, the one that is spearheading.
Oh, we know him.
Yes, we know the mayor. So his on the flyer, we have it set up. His phone number is on the flyer as well. You can go on the Holly Hill, City Hall Holly Hill site and see it on the website itself and get the number and call him, give him a call.
And you just had a successful school drive?
Absolutely. It was started at the last minute, but we did a school drive on Saturday morning where we had a lot of residents come. A lot of them were pre-scheduled, called in early to set an appointment to come pick up some backpacks and school supplies for their kids. We ended up servicing 58 kids.
That's awesome.
For that event for that day. It was held from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., so a little 4-hour time period. We got a lot of kids in and out of it, so we was grateful that we was able to help a bunch of kids in our community for this.
And the extra supplies will go where?
We're going to take the extra supplies that we had left over, and we're going to take those to the Holly Hill School. We normally do that annually, so they could never have enough supplies there. So we love our teachers, we love our administrative educators. We know they don't get enough, so we try to support them as much as we can from the police department to them.
Well, we appreciate the Holly Hill Police Department and all that you do, and
Absolutely.
I love learning all the rules. I think that, like you said, well, it's in the handbook. Well, I haven't did the handbook in how many years?
True enough.
No, you know what I'm saying? Because, like, okay, I have a perfect driving record, knock on wood, but so I can renew online.
Absolutely.
And I don't have to redo the book.
It's very
and all that
convenient
stuff.
now.
You know what I'm saying? So I think we do need to probably bring the book in. No, really, and go over some of those stuff. Because
sometimes we need a refresher. Yeah, we do develop a lot of bad habits.
We do.
Over the years.
We do.
I'm included in that also.
What is one of your bad habits? Are you going to admit it live on the air?
Sometimes I go a little fast. Sometimes.
Oh, do you? Well, that's probably because that's part of your job. And
yeah,
so,
I'm used to it. So
you know
sometimes I have to catch myself and slow down some myself.
Okay, you want to know what my bad habit is parking lots. Like if you don't want to go all the way down the lane and all the way back up the lane to get that parking place, I might cut through the lane. That's illegal, right?
To cut through the parking lot?
Yeah.
Depend if you get in an accident. It's still private property, but it's a public access roadway. So that way, I know we talked about it earlier, but when crashes, yeah, that's why we actually do accident reports. They say it's a private roadway. No, it's a public access way. So
okay, so I can't cut through parking lots
you
anymore.
shouldn't be cutting through parking lot.
Well, thank you so much, and I'll see you next month.
Absolutely. Thank you.